Thank you. Hi again, everyone. My name is Гаетан Гарсия. I'm head of operations at TAFISA, which stands for the Association for International Sport for All. And to show a little bit the connection between what we are doing, the international scope, but also all the organizations that we represent, and ESG, allow me to introduce briefly the organization. So TAFISA was founded in 1991, and it was founded mostly by people who were working in national sports ministries, in national sport federations, or in national Olympic committees, and were feeling that what they were doing with sport could bring so much more to society. So this is why these people who used to already meet every 1 or 2 years to exchange on best practices, on the latest research, and on other topics related to sport and society, decided to come together and create this organization. Nowadays, TAFISA is present in over 170 countries worldwide, and we have almost 400 members. And we are also officially recognized or in working relationship with partners such as the International Olympic Committee, United Nations, UNESCO, WHO, as well as Council of Europe and European Commission. So our main vision is for a better world through sport for all. And to accomplish it, our mission is to lead the global sport for all movement. So this means that we are really looking at how we can use sport for all as a vehicle for change, as a tool to really create a better world. So just to present a little bit our ecosystem, so we are present on all continents, and our international board of directors actually also represents all continents. And this shows a little bit the scope of the sort of people who are either members or some of our partners. So we have people who are coming from the public sector. We have organizations from the intergovernmental association or institution or international institution. We have the for-profit private sector as well, whom we work with usually through their corporate social responsibility branch. But we also have non-profit organization, whether we are talking about national sport for all organizations, just like ASFA Serbia earlier, who was on this panel. We also have national Olympic committees, national ministries of sports and recreation, as well as universities, municipalities, think tanks. So it's really a very diverse group. And what I really like in a way is that the same sort of direction or different types of stakeholders that you see on this screen is basically what we've been seeing in this conference since this morning, because we really have actors from a lot of different sectors. And this shows that there is a common goal, there is a common objective, and there are ways to work together. And this is what we are trying to bring together. Now you're going to see something a little bit familiar maybe. This is our TAFISA Mission 2030 for a better world through sport for all. And this is looking at how sport for all can align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This means that sport for all is not for us an end goal. We are not here only to promote sport. We are here to look at how sport for all can make a contribution to society. And then you have two types of people. When you see this, you might be a bit pessimistic. You might say, oh wow, do we really have to work towards all of these different things? There's so much to do. It's really overwhelming. There's no way we can do all of that. But you can also be optimistic, and I believe we have a responsibility to be. Because you can say, oh wow, sport for all really has the power to improve all of these elements? Can we really work towards peace development and partnership, towards gender equality, towards environment, towards education, etc.? Yes, we can. And there's already a first message here that is important when you are looking at the environment. Because actually, when you are working towards environment or environmental sustainability, you're actually also affecting the other aspects. An example is, of course, health and well-being. There's no health and well-being if you have to breathe in polluted air, eat food that has been contaminated, and drink water that is unfit for or unsafe for drinking. So obviously these are connected. But actually you can see that the connections are everywhere, because we also have data that shows that women and girls are actually more affected by the climate crisis than men. So if you are working to resolve the climate crisis, you're actually working towards gender equality. But it also works the other way around, because you also have data that shows that female leaders, women, are actually more conscious typically about environmental issues, and they also tend to perform better at reducing the climate crisis. So when you work towards gender equality, when you empower women, you also work towards the environment. And this is where it's really great because you really see all the interconnections. And this is all the elements that eventually lead to planetary health. So we are really looking at how we can empower our organizations who are members of TAFISA or the partners that we are working with in actually implementing these changes. The way we are doing this is manifold. One, we do a lot of advocacy. When we are invited to conferences such as here, when we are invited, I was in Paris at the UNESCO CIGEPS with a lot of ministries of sports represented just last month. So it's about policy at the intergovernmental level. When we are talking with the International Olympic Committee as well, we are always pushing the agenda of sport for all and of how sport has a responsibility and a duty to deal with all of these issues. This also goes to practical programs and events. We have been leading or partners of a dozen of Erasmus Plus projects for the last more than 12 years now, across a lot of different topics, ranging from person with disability to education, to gender equality or environment. In the environment, for instance, we were an external expert on a project called Sport for All and the Environment, which actually created guidelines for the organization of sports events, not only major sports events, but also smaller sports events and how we can reduce waste, how we can be more conscious of the energy we use, etc. But we also try to create a platform for our members to meet together. So every 2 years, for instance, we have the TAFISA World Congress, which is the one platform internationally where you have all these different actors from very different sectors, from very different levels of governance and organizations who come together and who are able to exchange good practices, to share on their experiences, but also sometimes to start new projects together. So this is what we are looking at. But now, when we are looking at ESG, there's another element that's very important. This is also governance. And governance means that you have to secure the buy-in from your organizations, from your board of directors, but also from your staff. And one of the best ways of doing this actually is to make sure that sustainability becomes part of their mission, that it becomes part of their mandate. Because too often, the issue we are faced with is that you talk with people and people are generally positive, they're convinced, we need to do something. First, they don't know how, so you try to capacitate them. We offer capacity building as well to try to show them some examples. And this conference as well is a great way of doing this. But then they feel, well, I already have so many things to do. I'm already understaffed, I'm already trying to deal a lot of things for my community. I cannot deal with that. I don't have time to measure all of the waste we are doing, all of our carbon footprint. I don't have time to deal with that. And if I start dedicating resources to that, then I don't deliver my programs anymore. So if you want to get success here, this is where governance can play a role. You can really try to make this part of the mission and the mandate of the organizations. You make it also part of the culture inside of the organization, so that any newcomer who belongs to the organization then also adopts it as their own. And Maria, earlier, when you introduced yourself, you were saying that people knew you from very different functions, different positions. But in the end, you are still one person, one individual who is convinced about the importance of this topic. And no matter where you bring this, no matter what organization you belong to in the future, you are also sharing and spreading this word. So this is also the goal of trying to get the buy-in from your board of directors, from your staff, from the partners you work with, because then they will also be the ones, the agents for sharing this change later. So in a nutshell, we are really trying to make sure that everything we are doing is connected to this. This is our roadmap, this is our strategy, this is our philosophy, this is the compass that guides every action we do. And when you start from this, you flip the script, because you're not anymore looking at trying to do business as usual, but trying to reduce a little bit the impact, but rather you're trying to say, okay, how can we make events, how can we create programs that from the beginning are trying to tackle this issue? And if you manage to get to this direction, to this point, you've already made quite a long step towards solving the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.